WMDSF magazine. This is WMDSF magazine. We're sitting here with Valina Rudolph and her new debut book, Now That I'm Stronger. It's a fiction book and it's a page turner if you don't believe it. So I'm sitting here with Valina. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Great. So tell me, how did you get started and decided to become a writer? And I know you're an attorney. For all those who don't know, she is an attorney. And what made you decide to write a book?
The decision to be an attorney was actually more difficult than the decision to be a writer. The decision to be a writer came very natural to me, only because when I was younger, I used to spend most of my time learning. I would write stories. I had a lot of members of my family that didn't really enjoy reading, but they would tend to read things that I wrote. And so that kind of made me really want to write even more. So I started writing short stories with that, and then they kind of just grew into their own thing. From there, I kind of feel like I am more of maybe even an attorney for my characters in that sense, because I tell their stories, I get their stories out there to people in a way that they can be understood.
So what made you want to become an attorney?
The attorney thing was a little more interesting in the sense that I was a little concerned with whether or not I'd be able to make a living off of writing my book. It's hard. It's really hard to, get out there and put books out. I mean, even after having this manuscript on the shelf for years, it took me a lot to push myself to want to publish it. So I need, to be able to support myself, and I figured, what better way than to be able to write and tell stories and deal with characters in my everyday, and that's what attorneys do. I deal with characters every day. And I tell stories, not necessarily fiction stories, but I tell stories in a way for people to understand, people to get information about what has really happened in this person's life. And it has to be a persuasive story, and you have to be a good storyteller to be able to get that person's, information across.
So tell me, how much of this
Not that much different.
It's true. So tell me how much of this book is true, and things that you might have seen or experienced.
Well, I'll tell you, my grandmother, I always lived in a house with extended family. So my grandmother was forced marriage. And so we had a lot of forced children coming in and out of the house that I was born in. Some of them stayed longer than others. So that portion in the book about foster care and the girl that was in the system, that hit close to home for me, just because it's something that I have come in contact with. Alcoholism or drug addiction is always something that hits close to home in my family, but also in a lot of inner city families. So if you read the book, there's a lot of issues that come across that are inner city issues. Living in the project, growing up and seeing crime and violence around you, but wanting more for yourself. There comes a time when you have to say, I'm not my environment, I'm not this family, I'm going to be me, I'm going to put this aside, I'm going to learn from it, but it's going to make me stronger, it's not going to be my excuse. So that's what Breathe has been able to do. And I think that it's a very positive statement for a lot of other people that are growing up in that community.
So explain to our readers what the book is about, so they have a strong basis of what we're talking about.
Okay. So Bree is the main character in this book, and basically, without giving you too much information, she is raised by a single father, and her mother died during childbirth. So she is very, very close to her father, and when her father gets sent to prison, she automatically thinks in her head, my father is actually innocent, and he's going to come home and stay now. That view is eventually shattered, and because of that, everything else around her starts to fall apart. like all the things that she thought was true, she realizes has come from her father, but now she can't trust him. So she starts to question everything. She goes on a journey of self-discovery, basically trying to find out who she really is and what she really wants for herself. And she also meets a guy in the book, and his name is Z. And Z, he has his own issues going on, you know, like most things. But the thing is, she has to look within herself and really find out whether or not she can trust him. Because she's had such a bad experience with the only human being that she's ever really loved, which is her father. You know, so that is a struggle for her. And there's also some issues in here with her seeking therapy from a professional. And I know there's a lot of stigma around that, especially in our communities. And that it's something that, you know, does more harm than good to have that kind of stigma. Because sometimes it's a really powerful thing to seek professional help if you feel like, you know, you're not making the best decisions and things like that. It's very important to be able to speak up, especially if you don't have that family support, or you don't have anyone that you can really look to for help. And in this type of environment, sometimes our support system is not giving us the best information. You know, so she does seek the help of a professional help. And that's also something that hits close to home because in a lot of the children that have come in and out of my house when I was growing up and having my grandmother give birth to me, there were weekly visits where I would ride in the car and my grandparents would drive us to different therapy sessions for these children. So
These weren't forced by the foster care?
Yeah. And it's a good thing, you know? So there's a situation where, you know, there's a lot of nuanced truths that are in this book. You know, so there is a
It's good because you can relate to it while you read it.
And that's what I hope for. That's what I hope.
Exactly. So what do you hope that your readers walk away from reading your book?
Well, I don't want to give away
We don't want to give away too much.
But I do hope that, you know, that title, Now That I'm Stronger, I really hope that a person who reads this book will say, you know what, maybe I've been through a lot, but I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. And if I'm not okay right now, I will be okay because I'm strong enough to get through this. So I really hope that it's a positive statement and encouraging statement like that for people that read it. And even as a favorite here, I made up bookmarks with little bracelets that say you're stronger than you realize. Because for most people, you seek the acceptance of others outside. We have to learn to tell ourselves, I'm okay. You know, I'm strong. I can handle it without waiting for, you know, exactly. And so that's what I'm looking for. Because she has no one to give her that approval.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm looking for.
And the one that she's supposed to be able to trust to give her that.
Right. So that's the hope for the reader to come away with that.
Well, I applaud you for this book.
Thank you so much.
I encourage everybody to get this book, especially for Christmas, and those that you know are avid book readers. This book, Now That I'm Stronger, is definitely on the list.
When the night has come,
as long as you stand around me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Yeah, I thank the Lord that I made it out. Saw the rain, pray for the sun, ducked another drought. Single mama kept food up in the youngin' mouth. Cold crib, no heat up in the youngin' house. My brother Ski kept the tool hidden in the couch. So when I say I need some peace, it ain't just word of mouth. Crust on with a vest on, slept on, yeah, you may have heard of that. True a living now, homie, this ain't murder rap. I'm from the block where the fiends duck their murder raps. When Miguel got stabbed, it was murdered at. Where TT got shot, turned handicap. Give me a beat with some soul, homie, I body that. This that music for the spirit, y'all that burger rap. Your boy burn Bunsen burners, get your thermostat. Trying to please everybody, man, I'm done with that. Bring the chorus back.
On my website, I already put up the first 5 chapters, so I'm going to do a little reading from, actually, I'll do it from chapter 5, which is page 27 of the book. So this is after Bree has already found out that her father is actually guilty. He confessed that to her. So she's struggling with it, and she decided to take that bus ride back upstate and try to confront him about it. So I'm just going to do a reading from that point, okay? It says, I had rehearsed over and over what I was going to say to him. I would tell him that he was a liar, that he was everything he had warned me to stay away from. I would tell him that I hated him, that I never wanted to see him again. And then I would make my dramatic exit. I had imagined the relief I would feel when it was all over, but none of that happened. I can't believe he actually refused to see me. The possibility of that happening hadn't even crossed my mind. Maybe it should have. I sat in the visitor's room, as usual, and searched for his face in the crowd. Once all the men had been seated across from their visitors, the chair in front of me was still empty. The guard came and politely told me that my father didn't want to see any visitors. Does he know it's me, his daughter? Yes, I told him that. I'm sorry, he specifically said he didn't want to see you. He was the one that had been doing wrong all these years, and he couldn't even look me in the eyes and give me a chance to say what was on my mind. He owed me that much. On the ride back to the city, traffic was backed up for miles. We would later find out that someone had hit a deer, the type of thing that happens a lot on the roads of upstate New York. I could relate to what that felt like, to be roadkill. The news of my father's double life and rejection had hit me like a Mack truck. I didn't feel like talking, but Demetrius wouldn't give me much of a choice. He had the way of getting me to open up. By the time we arrived back in the city, I was starting to feel more comfortable with him. When he asked me for my phone number, I surprised myself by making an attempt at flirtation. I thought you weren't interested in me, I said, giving him a sly head tilt. I'm not interested in you. You're not my type, but we could be friends. He winked at me. I didn't know what this feeling was that I was experiencing. It was unfamiliar to me, but I liked it. For a brief moment, it allowed me to take my mind off of everything that had been going on lately. I jotted down my number and handed it to him. I walked away with a little extra swing in my step, just in case he was watching.
I was So tell us and tell our readers where we can get the book.
You can definitely get the book at my website, ValinaRudolph.com. It's also going to be available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble for your e-readers, and that will be available in a couple of books. But for now, the paperback version is available on my website, ValinaRudolph.com.
And for full description and article on Valina, go to www.WMDSFmag.com. Thank you.
WM